Greetings everyone, this is Gary from S&G, and today's video is going to be tips and tricks on how to maintain your pressure washer. So what I have here today are two power washers. One's a Homelite with a Honda engine, and then another one with the Subaru engine, but essentially the same machine. When you get down to the individual parts, the pump is exactly the same for both machines. So the first machine we're going to look at today is the one that doesn't have the engine attached to the frame. This is the Subaru machine. Customer had called in, said that the pump was leaking oil all over the place and didn't know what was going on. So I told him I'd take a look at it, and it's a really nice one. The Subaru engine, it's an EA190V. It's a 3100 PSI, 2.4 gallons per minute. It's a very good size machine. It does have an electric start on it, which is not something I see on power washers very often. It's very nice. Anyways, the pump was not working. There was oil all over the place, so I decided to remove the engine and drop the pump down, and let's take a look at the pump. So here we are on the workbench taking a look at the Subaru's power washer pump, and as you can see here, this is where the failure started. The seal started to unravel itself, and this was due to heat. It immediately pumped out all the pump oil inside, and then it failed. So to avoid this kind of failure, what usually happens with these pumps is that they need to have constant water coming into their inlet in order to stay cool. Over time, if you let the engine run with the pump running and you don't press the trigger on the wand, the water inside starts to get very hot. And on the side here, there's usually a thermal relief valve, which I've taken off here. I'm going to have to reuse it on the new pump. But if it gets too hot, then that thermal relief valve will spit out the hot water here and then close back up. It's very normal to find a little bit of water leaking underneath your power washer, and this is the reason for it. Unfortunately, it looks like this one lost its water inlet pressure, and it was running basically dry, and with no water to cool it off, the pump just got very hot, and this is what you see, and you can hear it. It's pretty much been destroyed inside. These pumps are not worth rebuilding. For the cost of a new one, you'd be better off just buying a new one and putting it right on the machine. So that's what we're going to do today. So the Honda machine here, we're taking a look at it. It's in really good shape. The customer brought it in. He had trouble with the pump for the similar reasons that the Subaru wasn't getting any higher pressure. And he told me that the pump was leaking a lot of water on the bottom. So I decided to take a look here, and I noticed that he had put a plug where a thermal relief valve should be. Now, I was able to test this off camera, and the pump is actually still in good shape. He's lucky. When you put a plug in here like this, if it's spitting out a lot of water all the time like a faucet, all you have to do is replace this. This is only like $12. It should only be spitting out a little bit of water at a time. It shouldn't be running like a faucet. So here's a tip. Never put a plug in here when you should have a thermal relief valve. If you have a plug in here, it doesn't have a way to get rid of that hot water, and it will cause premature pump failure. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that plug out and replace it with the proper thermal relief valve, and this machine will be good to go. So we're making sure that the thermal relief valve is doing what it should. I haven't turned the wand on here in about 4 minutes, but we should start seeing this start to puke a little bit of water, which is normal. There it goes. Start to see a little bit of hot, look at a little spring here. But that's what should happen. So one other tip with power washers, I wanted to bring the attention to this piece right here. This is called your unloader valve. When you press the trigger, this spring compresses and it allows the high pressure to go to your hose here. When it is not adjusted properly, a couple things could happen. One, this never releases and the engine is constantly running in high pressure mode, but no water's coming out of here. That could end up hurting the pump in the long run. So that often means that you would have to adjust this here. It's not often that you would have to adjust it because these are set from the factory, but sometimes these do get stuck, so it's very easy to work on. You just take this pin out, this pops out, and then there's a little pin that should move. If that pin is stuck, you can replace this part or try to get the old one moving again so that it can work properly.